Hello guys, in this video I will explain the concept locking. I will explain the concept locking. Okay, before going to the locking concepts, why locking was introduced? Okay, for that you need to understand the concept called concurrent access. Okay, concurrent access. Concurrent access means accessing the same data by multiple users at the same time. Okay, concurrent access means accessing the same data by multiple people or multiple users at the same time. Okay, for example, if you take real world one, there are movie tickets for booking. For example, these are the tickets you need to book. Okay, all tickets are booked except one seat. This is the only one seat left for booking the ticket. Okay, only one seat left. For example, at the same time, there are five members accessing this ticket. I mean, they want to book this ticket at the same time. So this leads to the concurrent access. If you can't control the concurrent access, it leads to the problem called race condition. Okay, what actually means, this is only one ticket left for booking. If five people want to try to book the same ticket, now if you can't control this access, then the one ticket booked by the five members, which is not good, right? In real time we need to handle this scenario. If you can't handle it, leads to the problem called a race condition. Okay, so for that case they were introduced some rules which is called as concurrent control protocols. Protocols means set of rules. Okay, there are mainly three protocols they were introduced. First one is the log based log based protocol. Second one is the timestamp protocol. Third one is the validation based protocol. Okay, these are the main three protocols they were introduced to control the concurrent access. Okay, that's why they were introduced the concepts called locking, which is a type of protocol. Okay, now actually there are two types of lockings. Okay, first one is shared lock, which is denoted by the letter capital S. Second one is exclusive lock, which is denoted by the letter capital X. Shared lock is also called as read lock. Okay, exclusive lock is also called as write lock. So these two locks can be placed at two levels. Okay, the shared lock and the exclusive lock can be placed at two levels. The two levels are at row level and the table level. Table level. So the row level have high concurrency control. Concurrency. The table level have low concurrency control. Okay. Now, for, in the previous video, I told you about the database engines, right? Database engines or storage engines. For example, if you take InnoDB engine, it uses row level by default. Okay, InnoDB uses row level by default. The MySQL it uses table level by default. Okay, the InnoDB engine uses row level by default, and the MySQL engine uses table level by default. Okay, these are the things I want to explain the theoretically. Now I will move forward to the practical examples. I will show you, I will place shared lock at row level and table level, and also exclusive lock at row level and the table level. Then you got clearly understand what I am trying to explain. Okay, let's move forward to the MySQL workbench. First, I will create the database. First, I will create the new database for explaining the theoretical examples like practically database. For example, logs. So I created a database. Now I will use this database to perform the to creating the tables like this. Okay. If I once refresh this one, it will create. It will show the logs database. Okay. Now I will create a users table for performing the shared log and exclusive log at row level and table level. Okay. First I will create the users table. Users table. So, but in real world, I will suggest you to use the best format to for readability. Okay, care of 20, not null constant. Okay, so I didn't specify any engine, so by default it will take InnoDB as the engine. Now I created a table. Now I will see the data. Users, submit, values. Okay. So I inserted the data. Now if I select command, select store from table users. Now the data Hemant and Raju is there. Now, first of all, before going to explaining the shared lock and exclusive lock, I want to also introduce the concept called special databases or schemas. Okay. First of all, I will tell you about the special databases. Databases schemas. Why I want to tell you this concept means if you run a transaction, if the lock placed right, we will actually see what type of lock it will be placed. I mean, we can see the it can be placed at row level or table level. So for that reason, I want to explain this special databases or schemas and store now. Okay, there are mainly three things that are information schema database, performance schema, and the MySQL. These are the three special databases exist in the MySQL. Okay, for showing this, first I will do show tables information schema. Okay, these are the tables which is related to the information schema. What I will do, select. If you want to see the transaction which are currently running, there is a table called InnoDB, InnoDB TRX, InnoDB TRX. This table will show you the all transactions which are currently active. Select from information schema row InnoDB, InnoDB, TRX. Okay, now there are no current transactions, so it will not show anything. So information schema is basically for storing the metadata. Metadata means it stores the databases and the tables related to the database. So it's like that information it will store. Now let's talk about the performance schema. Performance schema. Performance schema means it will give the information about real-time tracking the database. I mean, for example, the query performance, the query status, to see the real status, how the query is performed. I mean, mainly for the tracking. So the performance schema for the show tables for performance schema. So there are data logs table, which is the information about the logins. Okay, select, select start from performance schema dot data logs, data logs. Okay, there are no current logs, that's why it will not show anything. And the last special database is MySQL. So MySQL is the database which is stored the mainly the user accounts details and the password. Okay, okay, for the show tables. See, there is a table called user, for example. So start from user. So it will store the everything about related to users and their credentials. Okay, users and their credentials, authentication string plugin. Okay, so these are the three databases which are specially designed. So you can to perform any operations on them. I mean, we can delete the database. It is mainly for the read purpose. You can just see what the information is, but not write. Okay. Now I will explain the concepts called lockings practically. Okay. Here we'll talk about shared lock and the exclusive lock. First, we will cover at the row level. We will cover at the row level. At row level, first I will do is shared lock. Shared lock. Now I will create one transaction. Stop. Transaction, and what I will do means I will set the shared lock for this particular row. For example, first row. So let's start from users. Where now I want to set the shared lock for the first row. So I will select the first row, and for setting the shared lock we need to use the keyword called for share. Okay. Now if I run this transaction, what happens means the shared lock will set to the users table for the first row. So earlier I explained, right? If you want to see the transactions, there is a table called InnoDB and to see the data logs, there is a table called performance schema, which are special databases. Okay. Now I will do the same thing for the differentiation. For that I will open another connection. Now I will select the logs database. Now what I will do means I will Do the same thing for the another transaction. Okay, now I will run this transaction. Now for the multiple sessions or multiple transactions, the share lock will allow. Okay, for the same row, the share lock will allow. But there is only one exclusive lock at a time. Okay, for example, if I want to do, first of all, I will complete this transaction. Okay, the same way. Now, what I will do means I want to put the exclusive lock for the first row. Okay, for update. This is the exclusive lock. This is the exclusive lock. So what I will do means I will run the transaction. I will run the transaction. Now for this particular row, the exclusive lock will be placed. Now for example, if I want to run the transaction, for example, this shared lock also will not allowed if existing exclusive lock. For example, if I run, it is still loading because for that particular row, there is already exclusive lock. So if there is only one exclusive lock for that particular row, if the transaction completed, then only this transaction will execute it. For example, say it's still loading. Now what I will do means I will complete this transaction. If you go here this will execute it. Now the share log will be placed. It's like a queue system. It follows the first in, first out. Okay, FIFO order. Now I will complete this transaction. Now you can understand, like, for example, shared log will allow many sessions. Work allowed for many sessions. But exclusive log is only allowed one session at a time. Log will allow one session at a time. If that transaction was complete, then only the next transaction will set to the log for that particular row. Now I will explain the table level logs. Okay, first of all, I will explain the table level logs. The table level logs have the less concurrency when compared to the row level logs. Okay, first we will go for shared log, shared log, or shared log, or read log. Okay. For locking the table, we will need to use the command called lock table users on which lock. Now I will explain shared lock. For shared lock, which is read. Okay. For example, select start from users. Now I will run this. The lock was placed at the users table. Now if I go to the other session, if I want to access, select start from users, it will allow because it is shared log. Okay, for example, if you want to place the exclusive log, you need to write the command called write. Before going to that, first we will unlock the table. For unlock the table, unlock tables. Okay, I will unlock the table. Now I will place the write log, which is exclusive log. Now exclusive log, exclusive log of write log. Okay, now what I will do means I will lock the table. Now I lock the table with the exclusive lock. Now none of the other sessions will access the table, even I cannot read the data in the users table. Okay, so in the other session what I will do means if I access the users it will not get the data because it is locked. You cannot perform any DDL and DML operations on the table. Okay, now I will unlock the table, then only the operation was performed. Okay, this is mainly the table level logs. Here I want to tell you one thing. If you compare to the row level log, use the transaction, and if you commit the transaction, automatically the lock was unlocked. Okay, we don't need to manually do it like unlock and that particular lock name. Here what happens means if you put the lock at the table level, you need to manually do unlock tables, okay, until unless the lock was not released. So this is the main difference between the row level and the table level. I think I hope you understand very well what are the logs, what type of logs, what are the levels, and also the practical examples are shown here. Okay, thank you.